by Press Unit. National Government Delegation, which is made up of Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Honorable Albino Ako, Minister of Youth and Sport, Dr. Albino Bol, Honorable Rebecca Joshua Okwasi, SPLM Chief Whip at the TNLA, RC Chairperson among others, arrived in Reng County on Monday with a clear policy from the central government concerning how to deal with the returnees crisis at the entry points across the country. Last week, the governor of Upper Nile State H.E. James Odhok Oyei went to Wonto, Joda, town to assess the humanitarian situation there, describing it as very terrible, and earnestly called on the central government to take full responsibility of the crisis. According to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Honorable Albino Ako, the central government had sent this delegation to take the full responsibility of the crisis with a clear policy, distributing the returnees across South Sudan. Honorable Albino Ako further said the central government has no intention to establish a permanent camp to accommodate the returnees anywhere in the country. Rather, the policy is to register them at the entry points and transport them to their areas of origin or any area of their choice in the country. Foreign nationals, on the other hand, will be handed to their respective embassies in South Sudan, which shall evacuate them to either their countries or other places. As of right now, the registration and transportation process at the border has begun, with river transport, land transport, and air transport being the means. Despite humanitarian organizations' response to the situation at the border, the human suffering there seems inevitable. A case everybody found heart-wrenching was that of a scarcely clad 16-days-old baby gaping for air in a hot, dry, semi-arid climate of Wonto area, with his mother hoping that a situation better than that will come as she nursed the child under a shanty shade of an acacia tree. Another case is that of a critically wounded, separated, and abandoned teenage girl who was said to have sustained injuries from the latest clashes between FARS and a South Sudanese community in Kenana town in Sudan. Thanks to RC, which considered treating their case with utmost urgency, meriting their immediate transportation to Reng town. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, who was the head of the central government delegation, lamented the situation and called on the warring parties to cease hostilities and end the ongoing war in Sudan. In Khartoum last month, a war broke out between the Sudan Armed Forces under General Al-Burhan and Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, under General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemiti. Before then, Sudan had been home to over 800,000 South Sudanese refugees and over 300,000 documented migrants. Since the record began on April 17, 2023 at the border in Joda, so far, over 20,000 people have crossed into South Sudan, with more influx expected in the days ahead. Views exclusive rights, Press Unit, Government House, Upper Nile State, South Sudan, May 2, 2023. Government to use boats to transport returnees to their respective places. President Salva Kiir Mayardit on Saturday met with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Ako Attack, to deliberate on how to manage the influx of returnees coming from Sudan. Honorable Albino Ako, in his remarks, said the government will evacuate people in Palak immediately in order to decongest Palak and Reng Airport as directed by the President through a proposed action plan. He noted that the government will control the flow of returnees in Reng by considering other means of transportation such as water transport through the Nile River. Views exclusive rights, Office of the President of South Sudan, Juba, April 29, 2023.